Stay focused on me.
Don't look.
Down. Just breathe.
The steel door hisses open on the 84th floor, and Rylan Creed steps into a world that doesn't want him there. His toolbox scrapes against polished marble, too loud, too rough, too working class for a space built from glass and silence. Sweat soaks through his navy work shirt, darkening the fabric under his arms and across his back. His boots leave faint prints on the floor, rubber against stone, each step a reminder that he doesn't belong. But the call came in urgent. Burst pipe. Possible sabotage. Get here now. The conference hall stretches before him like a cathedral of wealth, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Arizona skyline, chrome fixtures gleaming under recessed lighting, and a table long enough to seat 20 people who probably make more in an hour than he does in a year. At the far end, a woman stands with her back to him. Shoulders straight, posture perfect, speaking into a phone in clipped, controlled syllables. Sabine Arcton. He's seen her face on magazine covers at the grocery store checkout line, on billboards downtown, on the news when Nova flips through channels looking for cartoons. But here, in person, she's smaller than expected, more real, her blonde hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. Her white suit jacket pressed into crisp lines that probably cost more than his truck. The room falls quiet as she ends the call. 15 people in tailored suits turn their heads toward him like synchronized machines. Their eyes scan him from work boots to grease-stained collar, taking inventory of everything that makes him different, everything that makes him less. Nobody speaks, nobody moves. They just stare at the plumber who dared to walk into their meeting. Rylan clears his throat. Someone called about a pipe issue? A man in a charcoal suit, sharp jawline, slicked back hair, smile that doesn't reach his eyes, steps forward. You're late. Traffic was... Pressure valves beneath the floor panels. Conference side, northeast corner. The man's tone suggests Rylan should already know this, should already be working, should already be invisible. Rylan nods and crosses the room, feeling every eye track his movement. He kneels near the northeast corner where the marble flooring meets a recessed panel. His knees crack, too many years of crouching in crawl spaces and under sinks. He pops open his toolbox and pulls out a pressure gauge, a wrench, and work gloves that have seen better days. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on what you think is going to happen next. This story is about to take a turn nobody saw coming. Behind him, the meeting resumes. Voices layer over each other, quarterly projections, market share, competitor analysis. Words that mean nothing to him, but everything to them. Sabine's voice cuts through the noise, steady and firm, directing the conversation like a conductor. She's talking about security breaches, about threats that have been escalating for weeks, about someone trying to destroy everything she built. Rylan tunes it out. He's got a job to do. He removes the access panel and peers into the darkness below. Pipes snake through the cavity, copper and steel, carrying water and pressure through the building's veins. His flashlight beam catches something unusual, a small canister attached to the main pressure line. Digital timer blinking red. His stomach drops. That's not plumbing. He's about to call out when the hissing starts. Soft at first, like air escaping a tire, then louder, sharper, chemical sweet and wrong in a way that makes his skin prickle with alarm. The sound fills the room, climbing the walls, pressing against the windows. Rylan's emergency training kicks in before his brain catches up. This isn't water, this isn't gas, this is something else entirely. He jerks his head up. Sabine stumbles. Her hand flies to her throat, fingers clutching at nothing, eyes going wide with confusion and fear. Her phone clatters to the table. Her knees buckle. The room erupts into chaos. People scatter like startled birds, backing toward the walls, hands covering mouths, voices rising in panic. Some shout for security, others freeze in place, paralyzed by shock and self-preservation. Nobody moves toward her. Nobody reaches out. They just watch as the most powerful woman in the building collapses in slow motion, her white suit jacket twisting as she falls. Rylan doesn't think. He lunges forward, toolbox forgotten, gloves still on his hands. He catches her before her head hits the marble, his arms sliding under her shoulders, cradling her weight. She's lighter than expected, fragile in a way that contradicts everything her reputation promises. Her breath comes in shallow gasps, eyes unfocused, pupils dilating. Hey, hey, look at me. His voice cuts through the panic, firm and steady. Stay with me. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. Her hand clutches weakly at his sleeve, fingers digging into the fabric like she's trying to anchor herself to consciousness. He can see it slipping away, the awareness in her eyes dimming, her chest rising slower, the color draining from her face. He knows this. He's been trained for this. Forced air resuscitation. Keep her breathing until help arrives. It's the only option. He tilts her chin up with one gloved hand, checking her airway. Clear. He leans in close, his mouth hovering over hers, and someone screams, "What is he doing? Get him away from her! He's attacking the CEO." Rylan blocks them out. He presses his mouth against hers and breathes, slow, controlled, pushing air into her lungs. Once, twice. Her chest rises and falls with each breath he gives her. He pulls back, checks her pulse at her neck, faint but present. He breathes into her again. The room explodes with voices. "Security! Now! Someone stop him! Get footage of this!" Heavy footsteps thunder across the marble. Hands grab Rylan's shoulders, yanking him backward. He tries to hold on, tries to explain, but the guards are stronger, trained for this, pulling him away from Sabine's limp body. His gloves catch on her jacket, tearing the fabric as they haul him to his feet. "I was helping her!" His voice cracks with desperation. "She wasn't breathing!" They don't listen. One guard twists his arm behind his back. Another kicks his toolbox aside, tools scattering across the floor. A third presses him face first against the wall, hand on the back of his neck, knee against his spine. The cold marble bites into his cheek. Through the chaos, he sees Sabine on the floor, surrounded now by people in suits who wouldn't touch her moments ago. Someone's on the phone calling for medics. Someone else is checking her pulse. Her hand lies open on the marble, fingers still curved as if reaching for something she couldn't hold. The guard behind him pulls out handcuffs. "Wait," Rylan starts, but metal clicks around his wrists. Cold and final. Across the room, Sabine's chest rises and falls, shallow, uncertain, alive because of what he did. And in just seconds, the man who saved her life would be treated like her attacker. What would you do if you saved someone's life and got arrested for it? Drop your answer in the comments. Chapter 2. The interrogation room smells like stale coffee and desperation. Rylan sits in a metal chair bolted to the floor, wrists still cuffed, left hand throbbing where the guard twisted it too hard. The overhead light buzzes like an angry wasp, fluorescent and harsh, casting shadows that make the cinderblock walls close in tighter. He's been here for 2 hours, maybe 3. Nobody will tell him anything. The door slams open. A security chief walks in first, barrel-chested, buzz-cut, jaw set like concrete. Behind him, the man from the conference room, the one in the charcoal suit. Up close, Rylan can see the details he missed before. Cufflinks shaped like tiny skyscrapers, a watch that costs more than Rylan's truck, cologne strong enough to announce his presence before he enters a room. The man sits across from Rylan, crossing one leg over the other, perfectly at ease. Victor Hale. He doesn't offer a handshake. VP of Operations. And you're Rylan Creed, single father, 2 kids, work 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. He smiles, thin and sharp. Did I miss anything? Rylan's jaw tightens. You missed the part where I saved her life. Victor laughs, short, cold, dismissive. Is that what we're calling it? He pulls out a tablet and swipes through images. Security footage. The conference room from multiple angles. He turns the screen toward Rylan. The footage shows Rylan crouched by the floor panel, shows the canister, shows the hissing gas. But the angle is wrong, edited, cut to make it look like Rylan triggered the release himself. Then it jumps to him leaning over Sabine, mouth pressed to hers, hands on her body. The way it's framed, the way it's cut, it doesn't look like rescue. It looks like assault. Convenient timing, Victor says, tapping the screen. You arrive, equipment malfunctions, and suddenly you're the hero performing mouth-to-mouth on the most powerful woman in Phoenix. He leans back. Tell me, Rylan, how much were you paid? Nobody paid me anything. Then why? Attention? 15 minutes of fame? Victor's eyes narrow. Or maybe something more personal. Maybe you saw an opportunity. Rich woman, vulnerable position. Maybe you thought, I thought she was dying. Rylan's voice cuts through the accusation like steel. I thought if I didn't do something, she'd stop breathing. That's it. That's the only thought in my head. Victor studies him for a long moment, face unreadable. Then he stands, smoothing his suit jacket. Here's what's going to happen. You're suspended from your contract with this building pending investigation. You'll surrender your security clearance. Any attempt to contact Ms. Arcton or return to Arcton Dynamics property will result in immediate arrest. He pauses at the door. Consider yourself lucky we're not pressing charges, yet. The security chief uncuffs Rylan and escorts him out through a side exit, avoiding the main lobby. No explanations, no apologies, just a rough shove toward the parking garage and a warning to disappear. Rylan stumbles into the late afternoon heat, head spinning, hands shaking now that the adrenaline is wearing off. His truck sits where he left it 3 hours ago, dusty and dented and ordinary. He climbs inside, closes the door, and for the first time since this morning, he lets himself breathe. His phone buzzes. 17 missed calls, 23 text messages. He scrolls through them with growing dread. His dispatcher, contract terminated, don't come back. His landlord, saw the news. We need to talk about your lease. His kid's school. Please call regarding an urgent matter. And then the news alerts start rolling in. Plumber arrested after incident with Billionaire CEO. Sabine Arcton hospitalized following alleged assault. Who is Rylan Creed? What we know about the man. Accused of... The headlines blur together. None of them mention the canister. None of them mention the chemical leak. None of them mention that he saved her. They only show the edited footage. Him leaning over her, mouth on hers, hands on her body. The optics are damning. The narrative is set. He pulls out of the parking garage, head empty, chest tight. He needs to get home, needs to see Nova and Kai, needs to hold them and pretend everything's fine, even though his world just imploded. The drive takes 40 minutes. 40 minutes of watching other drivers stare at him at stoplights, recognition flickering in their eyes. 40 minutes of radio hosts dissecting the story, callers weighing in with opinions about what really happened. 40 minutes of his phone buzzing nonstop with messages from numbers he doesn't recognize. He turns onto his street just as the sun starts to set, casting long shadows across the trailer park. His home sits at the end of the row, a single wide with a patched roof and a front door that sticks when it rains. Nova's bike leans against the steps. Training wheels still attached even though she's probably too old for them now. Kai's toy trucks scatter the small patch of dirt they call a yard. Rylan parks and walks toward the door, keys in hand. Something's wrong. The front door hangs open, just an inch, just enough to make his pulse spike. He pushes it wider and steps inside. The living room looks like a hurricane hit it. Couch cushions slashed open, stuffing spilling onto the floor. The TV knocked off its stand, screen shattered, kitchen drawers pulled out and dumped, silverware and receipts and random junk scattered everywhere. In the hallway, Nova's drawings, butterflies and rainbows and stick figure families, were torn off the walls and ripped into pieces. His bedroom door hangs crooked on broken hinges. Nova, his voice cracks. Kai. Silence. He runs through the trailer, heart hammering. Their bedroom, empty. Bathroom, empty. Back door, locked from the inside. They're not here. They must be at the neighbors. Please let them be at the neighbors. He turns to leave and sees it, carved into the hallway wall in jagged letters. Stay away from her. The words cut deep, gouged into drywall with something sharp. Fresh. Recently. Whoever did this was here today. Maybe while he was being interrogated. Maybe while his life was falling apart 84 floors above the city. His phone buzzes again. A text from his neighbor, Mrs. Chen. Kids are with me. Saw your door open. Called the police. They said it's a domestic dispute. Said they'd send someone tomorrow. Tomorrow. Because plumbers don't get emergency responses. Because single dads in trailer parks don't get protection. Because when you're accused of something on the news, people stop caring whether you're the victim or the villain. Rylan sinks onto the torn couch, head in his hands. His kids are safe. That's what matters. They're safe, and they don't know yet. They don't know their father is being called a criminal. They don't know someone broke into their home. They don't know that everything they've built together is crumbling. He looks at the message on the wall again. Stay away from her. Victor's words echo in his memory. You picked the wrong woman to touch. This wasn't random. This was a message, a warning, a promise of what comes next if he doesn't disappear. Outside, a car engine idles. Headlights sweep across the window, slow and deliberate, like whoever's driving wants him to notice. The car circles once, twice, then drives away, leaving only the sound of gravel crunching under tires. Rylan stands and walks to the window, scanning the darkening street. And while Rylan tried to shield his children from the truth, someone else was already heading to his home. Who do you think is behind this? Comment your theory below. Chapter 3. Nova's laugh cuts through the nightmare like morning light through blinds. Rylan wakes on Mrs. Chen's couch, neck stiff, shirt wrinkled, the smell of jasmine tea and ginger drifting from the kitchen. Through the doorway, he can see his daughter sitting at the small dining table, coloring with markers that Mrs. Chen must have given her. Kai sits beside her, building a tower from wooden blocks, tongue poking out in concentration the way he always does when he's focused. They're safe, they're here, they don't know. Mrs. Chen appears with a steaming mug, pressing it into Rylan's hands before he can refuse. Drink. You look like death. Thanks. He takes a sip. Too hot, burns his tongue. He doesn't care. She sits in the chair across from him, folding her hands in her lap. She's 70-something, silver hair pulled into a bun, eyes sharp despite the wrinkles. She's lived in this trailer park longer than Rylan's been alive, seen families come and go, watched the neighborhood change from hopeful to forgotten. Police came by an hour ago, she says quietly. Didn't go inside, just looked at the door, took some pictures, and said they'd file a report. Did they say when? They said it's low priority, domestic dispute. Her mouth presses into a thin line. I told them you weren't even home when it happened. They didn't care. Rylan sets the mug down before his shaking hands spill it. What do I tell them? Mrs. Chen glances at Nova and Kai. Nothing yet. Let them be kids a little longer. He nods, throat tight. She's right. They don't need to carry this. Not yet. Nova looks up from her coloring, face brightening when she sees him. Daddy, look what I made. She holds up a drawing, him and her and Kai holding hands under a smiling sun. Simple, perfect, innocent. It's beautiful, baby. His voice almost breaks on the words. Kai abandons his block tower and runs over, crashing into Rylan's legs with the full force of 5-year-old enthusiasm. Can we have pancakes? We're at Mrs. Chen's house, Bud. We can't just... I already made them. Mrs. Chen stands, heading back to the kitchen. Come eat before they get cold. They eat together at the small table, Nova chattering about a butterfly she saw yesterday. Kai asking why the sky is blue, and why trucks are better than cars, and why dinosaurs don't exist anymore. Normal questions, normal morning. Nothing normal about the situation. Rylan's phone buzzes constantly on the counter. He ignores it. Whatever's happening out there in the world can wait. This moment, pancakes and marker-stained fingers and his kids' voices, this is what matters. But reality has a way of crashing through even the safest walls. After breakfast, Rylan walks back to his trailer in full daylight, neighbors watching from porches and windows, whispers following him like smoke. He steps through the broken door, surveys the damage again with fresh eyes. Whoever did this was thorough, methodical. This wasn't random violence. It was a performance, a demonstration of power. He starts cleaning, picking up pieces, sweeping up glass, duct taping the couch cushions because new ones aren't in the budget. He'll fix the door later. Right now, he just needs the place to look safe enough that his kids can come home. An hour in, he finds it. Behind the overturned TV stand, wedged into the gap between the wall and the entertainment center, a small device, black and rectangular, no bigger than a USB drive. He picks it up carefully, turning it over in his palm. There's a port on one end, a tiny LED light blinking green on the other. A micro drive. Why would someone breaking in leave this behind? He carries it to his laptop, ancient, slow, held together with hope and electrical tape, and plugs it in. The screen flickers. A folder appears, labeled only with a date, 3 weeks ago. Inside, technical schematics, pages and pages of engineering diagrams, circuit layouts, software code. He doesn't understand most of it, but he recognizes the header on every page. Arcton Dynamics, proprietary. This is stolen, corporate espionage, and someone planted it in his home. His phone buzzes again. This time he looks. A text from an unknown number. Check your porch. He walks outside. On the top step, a manila envelope sits weighted down by a rock. No markings, no address. Just his name written in block letters across the front. Inside, printed screenshots of bank transactions, his bank account, deposits he never made, $5,000 3 weeks ago, $10,000 2 weeks ago, $20,000 last week, all labeled consulting services, Arcton Dynamics. He's never received a penny from Arcton Dynamics beyond his standard plumbing contract. But according to these records, he's been taking payments for months. His stomach drops. They're framing him. Not just for the incident yesterday, for everything. The stolen schematics, the sabotage, the chemical attack. They're building a narrative where he's not a hero, not even a villain, just a pawn who got caught. Another text arrives. You were warned. He stares at the message, mind racing. Victor Hale. This has his fingerprints all over it. The edited security footage. The immediate suspension. The break-in and planted evidence. Victor isn't just trying to discredit him. He's trying to bury him. A black SUV pulls up across the street. Tinted windows, engine running, just sitting there, watching. The same vehicle Mrs. Chen mentioned, the same one that circled last night. Rylan steps back inside and locks the door, what's left of it, behind him. His phone rings, an actual call this time, not a text. Unknown number, he answers. What do you want? A woman's voice, cool and measured. Mr. Creed, this is Dr. Lena Hartwell from Arcton Dynamics Medical Wing. Ms. Arcton has regained consciousness. She's asking for you. He nearly drops the phone. She's awake? Yes, and quite insistent. Can you come to the building? I was told if I came back, I'd be arrested. A pause. That directive has been revised. Ms. Arcton wants to speak with you immediately. A car is being sent to your location now. I don't... Mr. Creed. The doctor's voice softens. She remembers. She knows you saved her life. Please come. The line goes dead. Rylan looks out the window. The black SUV is gone, replaced by a sleek silver sedan with Arcton Dynamics logos on the doors. A driver in a dark suit stands beside it, waiting. He grabs his jacket, checks that Mrs. Chen still has the kids, texts her that he'll be back soon. Probably, hopefully. He doesn't know what he's walking into, but staying here surrounded by planted evidence and surveillance feels more dangerous than going. The sedan ride takes 30 minutes in silence. The driver doesn't speak, doesn't make eye contact. Just drive through traffic like time doesn't exist. Pulling up to Arcton Dynamics' underground entrance. Not the main lobby, not the public face. The back way. The private access. They take an elevator that doesn't stop on any of the floors Rylan recognizes. It climbs past the 84th floor, past the executive suites, all the way to the top, the penthouse level, where Sabine Arcton actually lives. The doors open to a medical suite that looks nothing like a hospital, more like a luxury hotel room converted for private care. White walls, soft lighting, equipment hidden behind elegant panels. A woman in scrubs checks monitors near the bed, and in the bed, propped up by pillows, face pale but eyes sharp, sits Sabine Arcton. She looks at him. Really look at him. Not the way people in the conference room did, like he was something dirty that needed removing. She looks at him like he's human. You kept me alive. Her voice is hoarse, damaged from the chemicals. No one else moved. They all just stood there. Why did you? Rylan's hands hang useless at his sides. Because someone needed to. She studies him for a long moment. Then, someone broke into your home last night. It's not a question. How did you? I have resources. She shifts in the bed, wincing. Someone is trying very hard to destroy both of us, and I think I know who. Victor Hale. Her expression doesn't change, but something flickers in her eyes. Confirmation. He was my partner. I built this company with me, then tried to take it from me. She pauses, choosing words carefully. He didn't succeed, but he's patient, and he's waited a long time for leverage. I'm not leveraged. You are now. Sabine reaches for a glass of water, hands trembling slightly. The moment you saved me, you became part of this, whether you want to be or not. Rylan shakes his head. I just want to go home. I want my kids safe. I want my life back. Then help me expose him. She sets the glass down. Help me find proof of what he's doing. And I'll make sure you're protected. I'll make sure your children are protected. I'm a plumber. I fix pipes. I don't do whatever this is. You're a father who keeps his children fed on 3 jobs and a prayer. You're someone who acts when everyone else freezes. That is exactly what I need. Her eyes lock onto his. 1 week. Help me for 1 week. I'll pay you what you'd make in 6 months. And when it's done, Victor Hale will never threaten you again. Outside, through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Phoenix spreads out below them, a city of lights and shadows, money and struggle, people like Sabine, who rule from towers, and people like Rylan, who keep the towers running. His phone buzzes, a message from Mrs. Chen. Nova keeps asking when you're coming home. Also, that SUV came back, circled 3 times. He looks at the message, then at Sabine, then at the medical equipment keeping her alive after someone tried to kill her. And then he realized the only way to protect his kids was to walk further into the fire. Would you trust a billionaire who says they can protect you? Drop your thoughts below. Chapter 4. Sabine's fingers tremble as she lifts the tablet, swiping through security footage with the focused intensity of someone hunting ghosts in pixels. Her private suite smells like antiseptic and expensive flowers, white orchids and crystal vases, their petals perfect and soulless. The medical equipment beeps steady rhythms beside her bed, monitoring vitals that almost flatlined 24 hours ago. Dr. Hartwell left 10 minutes ago after checking Sabine's oxygen levels and warning her against stress. Stress. As if she can just decide not to care that someone tried to murder her in her own building. She finds the timestamp she's looking for and pauses the footage. Conference room, yesterday, 30 seconds before the chemical release. The angle shows Victor standing near the northeast corner, his hand hovering over the floor panel access point. He's checking his watch, waiting. Then he steps back, moving away seconds before the hissing starts. He knew exactly when and where, but knowing and proving are different things. Her memory is coming back in fragments, sharp and bright in some places, dark and empty in others. She remembers the meeting, remember the tension in the room thick enough to choke on. Remember Victor's smile, the one he wears when he thinks he's won. Then the hissing, the room is tilting, her knees gave out. And then him, the plumber, Rylan, his hand under her head, his voice cutting through the panic, steady and sure. Stay with me. Not a request, a command. Like he believed she could choose to keep breathing if he just asked. She remembers his blue gloves against her skin. Remembers the moment his mouth met hers, not intimate, not romantic. Clinical, necessary. Air filled her lungs when they refused to work on their own. She remembers reaching for his sleeve because she wanted him to know, don't stop, don't let go. But when she woke up hours later in this bed, he was gone. Security had him. Victor was spinning stories, and the footage she saw showed something completely different from what she felt. Her phone rings. Private line. Only 5 people have this number. Sabine! Victor's voice pours through the speaker like honey over glass. How are you feeling? She doesn't answer immediately. Let him sweat. I heard you had Mr. Creed brought back to the building, he continued. I'm sure you understand how problematic that appears, given the circumstances. What circumstances? Sabine. He sighs, the sound of a man dealing with a difficult child. The man tampered with building systems. He put you in a vulnerable position. Security footage is edited. She cuts through his explanation like a blade. I've seen the raw files. Someone removed 17 seconds right before the chemical release. Someone who had access to the security mainframe. Silence on the other end. She can almost hear him recalculating. If someone edited the footage, he says slowly, then we need to find out who. This is a serious breach of... You're right. She sits up straighter, ignoring the protest from her ribs. It is serious, which is why I'm launching an internal investigation. Full access, no restrictions. And Victor? She pauses, letting the weight settle. You're included in the scope. The line goes dead. Sabine sets the phone down and closes her eyes. Her head pounds, a dull ache that the painkillers only barely touch. She should rest. Should let the doctors and lawyers and security teams handle this. But she didn't build an empire by trusting other people to fight her battles. Across the city, Rylan sits in his truck outside a storage facility, staring at the micro drive in his palm. He drove here after leaving Arcton Dynamics, taking a route that looped back on itself 3 times to make sure no one followed. The black SUV didn't reappear, but he's learned enough in the last 24 hours to know that doesn't mean he's safe. The storage unit belongs to his late wife's family, a place they kept old furniture and boxes of memories they weren't ready to sort through. Rylan hasn't been here in 2 years. But he needs somewhere off the grid, somewhere no one would think to look, to examine what's on this drive without risking his home or his kids. He unlocks the rolling door and steps into the musty darkness, pulling the chain for the single overhead bulb. The light flickers on, illuminating stacked boxes and a dusty workbench. He plugs the micro drive into his laptop and opens the files again. This time, he digs deeper. The schematics aren't random technical documents. They're blueprints for a new security system. Something Arcton Dynamics was developing to protect critical infrastructure, power grids, water treatment facilities, emergency services networks, the kind of system that, if compromised, could shut down entire cities. At the bottom of the file tree, he finds something else, a communication log, encrypted messages between 2 users. The timestamp spans 6 months. The content is careful, coded, but the intent bleeds through. Phase 1 complete, systems accessed, timeline moved up. She's getting suspicious. Alternative plan needed, someone expendable. The last message, dated 3 days ago, plumber scheduled for Thursday. Make it look organic. Rylan reads it 3 times, the words burning into his brain. They planned this. Not just the chemical attack, the whole thing. The burst pipe call. His presence in the building, the timing. They needed someone to be there, someone who would react, someone who could take the fall, and they chose him. His phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. Different from the last one, but the tone is the same. You found it. Good. Now you understand. Walk away, or everyone finds out you've been stealing from Arcton Dynamics for months. Your choice. His jaw clenches. They're monitoring him. They know he has the drive. They probably know he's in this storage unit right now. He takes a photo of the message log with his phone, uploads it to a cloud account he never uses, then pulls the micro drive from his laptop and snaps it in half. The LED flickers and dies. If they want evidence, they'll have to work for it. By the time Rylan gets back to the trailer park, the sun is setting and the kids are home from Mrs. Chen's. He finds them in the patched-up living room, Nova coloring again. Kai lining up his toy trucks in some elaborate pattern only he understands. They look up when he walks in, and the relief on their faces nearly breaks him. "Daddy!" Kai scrambles over. "Mrs. Chen made us noodles and she let me have 2 cookies and she said you'd be back soon and you are." Nova's quieter, watching him with eyes too old for 8. "Are we in trouble?" "No, baby, we're fine." "But the door was broken?" He kneels in front of her, taking her small hands in his. "I fixed it, see? Good as new." A lie. The door barely closes and the lock is held on with screws that stripped the first time he tried to install them. But she doesn't need to know that. She studies his face, looking for cracks in the story. Then, "Okay?" Kai tugs on his sleeve. "Can we have macaroni for dinner?" "Sure, bud, whatever you want." He makes dinner while they play, boiling water and stirring powdered cheese into noodles, the most normal thing he's done in 2 days. They eat together on the taped couch, watching a cartoon about talking animals who solve mysteries. Simple, safe, temporary. After they're asleep, Nova in her bed, Kai in his, nightlight glowing soft in the hallway. Rylan sits in the kitchen with his phone and the cloud-saved photo of the message log. He should go to the police, should show them the evidence and let them handle it. But he tried that with the break-in, and they called it low priority. He knows how this works. People like him don't get justice. They get managed. His phone rings, Sabine's private line, saved in his contacts now. Did you find something? She asks before he can say hello. They planned everything. The call, the timing, me being there. They needed a patsy and I walked right into it. Can you prove it? I have message logs, communication between two users discussing the setup. Send them to me. A pause. Please. He forwards the photo, hears her sharp intake of breath when she sees it. This is enough, she says quietly. This is what I needed. What happens now? Now we make sure Victor can't bury this. There's a board meeting tomorrow morning. Emergency session. Victor called it, thinking he's going to use the incident to force me out. Her voice hardens. He's wrong. Rylan leans back in his chair, staring at the ceiling. I don't want to be part of this. You're already part of it, whether you want to be or not. That's what you said before. I meant it. Silence stretches between them. Then, Rylan, I'm sorry. You didn't ask for any of this, but I promise you, when this is done, you and your children will be safe, protected. I'll make sure of it. How? Trust me. He almost laughs. Trust. Such a fragile word for something that's been broken so many times in his life. But he thinks about Nova's question. Are we in trouble? He thinks about the SUV circling his street. He thinks about the message carved into his wall. And he realizes the only way forward is through. What do you need me to do? He asks. Sabine demanded the plumber be brought to her, immediately. What do you think Sabine's plan is? Comment below. Chapter 5. The Arcton Dynamics boardroom sits on the 92nd floor, walls made entirely of glass, giving the illusion that the people inside float above the city like gods deciding mortal fates. Rylan stands outside the door at 6 in the morning, wearing the only button-up shirt he owns, navy blue, sleeves slightly too short, ironed in his kitchen at midnight while his kids slept. He looks nothing like the executives already seated inside. He doesn't belong here, but Sabine insisted. The door opens and Dr. Hartwell appears, gesturing him inside. She's ready for you. The boardroom is a study in power, a table that could seat 30, leather chairs that probably cost more than his truck, screens embedded in the walls displaying stock tickers and news feeds. 12 people sit around the table, all in expensive suits, all watching him enter like he's an exotic animal that wandered into their territory. Sabine sits at the head of the table, still pale but upright, dressed in a black suit jacket and a white blouse with a high collar. She meets his eyes across the room and nods once. Victor sits 3 chairs down, arms crossed, jaw tight. He looks at Rylan like he's already calculating how to remove him. Everyone's here. Sabine's voice cuts through the murmurs. We can begin. A woman in a gray suit, older, sharp-eyed, name tag, reading Eleanor Voss, board chair, clears her throat. Ms. Arcton, you've requested this emergency meeting despite medical advice to rest. I assume you have compelling reasons. I do. Sabine taps her tablet and the wall screens light up with security footage. The conference room, yesterday's incident. The timestamp shows the moments before the chemical release. The board watches in silence as the video plays. Rylan sees himself on screen, kneeling, working, unaware of what's coming. Then the hissing starts, the chaos, Sabine collapsing, and him catching her, performing the resuscitation that saved her life. But Sabine stops the footage before security intervenes. She rewinds. Play it again, slower this time, zooming in on the northeast corner. Victor's hand hovering over the floor panel, his watch check, his deliberate step backward. What you're seeing, Sabine says calmly, is Victor Hale positioning himself away from the chemical release point exactly 30 seconds before it activates, almost like he knew when it would happen. Victor stands abruptly. This is absurd. You're suggesting I tried to kill you? I'm suggesting you knew when and where the attack would occur, which means either you planned it or you were complicit with whoever did. The board erupts into overlapping voices, protests, questions, demands for clarification. Eleanor bangs a hand on the table, restoring order. Ms. Arcton, these are serious allegations. I have evidence. Sabine swipes to the next screen, the message logs Rylan found, the coded conversations, the timeline, the reference to someone expendable. Eleanor leans forward, reading. Other board members pull out their tablets, accessing the files Sabine shared in real time. Victor's face shifts from anger to calculation. Where did you get these files? Does it matter? Sabine doesn't look at him. What matters is they prove a coordinated effort to sabotage this company, to sabotage me. These could be fabricated. They're not. Rylan's voice cuts through the room before he realizes he's speaking. Every head turns toward him. His hands clench at his sides. I found them. On a drive planted in my home after it was broken into and trashed. Someone wanted me to have evidence that I was stealing from this company. Someone wanted me to look guilty. Victor laughs, cold, dismissive. And we're supposed to believe you? A plumber with no technical background suddenly discovers corporate espionage evidence? This is convenient? Rylan steps closer to the table. Yeah, it is. Just like it was convenient that I got called to fix a pipe that didn't need fixing. Just like it was convenient that the chemical release happened while I was in the room. Just like it's convenient that you're sitting here pretending you didn't plan the whole thing. Victor's smile disappears. Eleanor looks between them, expression unreadable. Mr. Hale, do you have a response to these allegations? I have several. Victor smooths his suit jacket, composure returning. First, these message logs could have originated from anyone with access to our systems, including Ms. Arcton herself. Second, Mr. Creed has motive to fabricate evidence since he's currently facing potential charges. Third, he pauses, leaning forward. Sabine has been under immense pressure recently. Her judgment has been questionable. Perhaps this incident has affected her more than the doctors realize. The implication hangs in the air like poison gas. Sabine's expression doesn't change, but Rylan sees her hands tighten on the edge of the table. I'm ordering an independent forensic audit, Eleanor says finally. Of the security systems, the communication logs, everything. Until that's complete, I'm recommending both Ms. Arcton and Mr. Hale step back from day-to-day operations. That's not, Sabine starts. It's protocol. You know this. Eleanor's tone softens slightly. Sabine, you nearly died 2 days ago. Take time to recover. Let us handle the investigation. Victor stands, buttoning his jacket. I'll cooperate fully with any audit. I have nothing to hide. He glances at Rylan. Can Mr. Creed say the same? The room holds its breath. Rylan wants to punch him, wants to grab that perfectly pressed collar and slam him against the glass wall and demand the truth. But he has kids at home. He has too much to lose. So instead, he says, I'm just a plumber who saved someone's life. That's it. Victor's smile returns, thin and sharp. We'll see. The meeting breaks. Board members scatter, some heading for Sabine, others avoiding eye contact entirely. Rylan moves toward the door, desperate to leave this room that feels too small despite its size. Mr. Creed. Eleanor catches him before he reaches the exit. A word. She leads him to a small conference room off the main boardroom, closing the door behind them. Up close, she's shorter than he expected, but her presence fills the space. Tell me the truth, she says quietly. Did Sabine pay you to corroborate her story? No. Did Victor threaten you? Not directly, but someone broke into my home and left me evidence that would make me look guilty. You do the math. She studies him for a long moment. You don't strike me as someone who wants to be here. I'm not. Then why are you? Because someone tried to kill her and nobody else seems to care. The words come out harsher than he intended. Because I've got 2 kids who need me and I can't protect them if I'm being framed for corporate espionage. Because sometimes you don't get to choose whether you're a part of something. You just are. Eleanor nods slowly. Fair enough. She pulls out a business card, pressing it into his hand. If you remember anything else, if anyone threatens you, call me directly. Why? Because Victor Hale is many things, but careless isn't one of them. If he's involved in this, he won't stop at sabotage. She heads for the door, pausing with her hand on the handle. Watch your back, Mr. Creed, and watch hers. She leaves him standing there, card in hand, questions multiplying in his head. Rylan finds Sabine in her office 20 minutes later, standing at the window, looking out over the city she built from nothing. They don't believe me, she says, without turning around. Some of them do. Not enough. She presses a hand against the glass. Victor's going to win. He's going to spin this until I look unstable and you look guilty and everything I've built crumbles. Then we make sure he doesn't. Rylan moves closer. You said you needed a week. That's what I'm giving you. 1 week to find real proof, something even the board can't ignore. She turns to face him. Why are you doing this? I told you, someone needs to. No. She shakes her head. That's not enough. You're risking everything. Your reputation, your custody of your children. There has to be more. He thinks about the question, about why he's standing in a billionaire's office instead of at home with Nova and Kai, about why he agreed to this. My wife died 3 years ago, he says quietly. Cancer. We didn't have insurance, sold everything we had trying to pay for treatment, and it still wasn't enough. He looks down at his hands, rough and scarred from years of hard work. I watched her fade. I watched her lose pieces of herself one day at a time, and when she died, I promised I'd never let my kids feel helpless like that. I'd never let them watch something bad happen and not be able to stop it. Sabine's expression softens. So, when I saw you collapse, Rylan continued, and everyone just stood there, I didn't see a billionaire. I saw someone dying, and I couldn't watch that happen again. Silence settles between them, heavy and honest. Thank you, Sabine whispers. Don't thank me yet. We still have to prove Victor's behind this. I know where to start. She walks to her desk, pulling up files on her computer. Victor has a shadow company, hidden under shell corporations and offshore accounts. I've suspected for months, but couldn't prove it. If we can connect that company to the attack, then you've got him. Exactly. She looks at him. But I'll need help, real help, someone who isn't on the payroll. Someone Victor won't see coming. I'm not a detective. No, but you're resourceful. And you have something Victor underestimates. People trust you. Before Rylan can respond, the office door bursts open. Dr. Hartwell rushes in, face pale. Security just called. There's been a breach in the parking garage. Someone bypassed the systems. Sabine's face goes hard. Where? Your private level. They run. The elevator drops 92 floors in stomach-lurching seconds, opening to the underground parking garage, concrete and shadows, and the echo of their footsteps. Sabine's car sits in its reserved spot, sleek and black and untouched, but the driver's side window is shattered, and on the seat, written in red spray paint, "You're next." Security guards swarm the area, checking cameras, running protocols, but Rylan sees what they don't: footprints in the dust near the service entrance. Fresh, leading away from the car, heading toward the exit that connects to the street level. He follows them. "Mr. Creed, wait!" A guard calls after him, but he's already moving. The service door hangs open. The footprints continue through, tracking red paint residue onto the concrete. Rylan pushes through the door and into the alley beyond, eyes scanning for movement. The alley is empty. Dumpsters, loading docks, a chain-link fence at the far end. No one. His phone buzzes, a text from a number he doesn't recognize. Tell her to stop. Last warning. He spins, looking for cameras, for watchers, for whoever's monitoring him, and then he sees her. Across the street, barely visible in the morning shadows. A woman in a dark hoodie, phone in hand, staring directly at him. She doesn't move, doesn't run, just watch. Rylan takes a step toward her. She lifts her phone, snaps a photo of him, and disappears around the corner. By the time he crosses the street, she's gone. No trace, no footprints, just the sound of traffic and the city waking up around him. He walks back to the garage, legs heavy, mind racing. Sabine stands beside her vandalized car, arms wrapped around herself, looking smaller than she did in the boardroom. Security has cordoned off the area with yellow tape, treating it like a crime scene. She looks up when he approaches. "Did you find anything?" "Someone's watching us. They knew exactly where to hit." "Of course they did." Her voice is hollow. "Victor knows everything about this building. He helped design the security systems. Then we need to get you somewhere he doesn't control. I can't just leave. The board, the company, will still be here tomorrow." Rylan steps closer. "But you might not be if we don't move. That message isn't a bluff." She looks at the car, at the words painted across her seat, at the shattered glass glittering on concrete. Where would we even go? Rylan thinks for a moment, then pulls out his phone and dials Mrs. Chen. That night, a new video would be leaked, and it would destroy everything again. "Do you think they can stay ahead of Victor? Comment on your prediction." Chapter 6. The video goes live at 11:47 p.m., uploaded to a burner account with no profile picture and a username that's just random numbers. By midnight, it had 10,000 views. By 1 a.m., 50,000. By the time Rylan wakes up on Mrs. Chen's couch at 6 a.m., his phone is exploding with notifications he can't stop fast enough to read. He sits up, disoriented, neck aching from the awkward angle he slept in. Through the doorway, he can hear Nova and Kai already awake, their voices mixing with Mrs. Chen's as she makes breakfast. The smell of eggs and toast drifts through the small house. Normal and safe and completely disconnected from whatever's happening on his phone. He opens the first notification. It's a link. Sent by 12 different people. The preview shows a thumbnail he recognizes immediately. The conference room, the moment he leaned over Sabine, the moment he saved her life. But the title makes his stomach drop. Billionaire CEO caught in passionate affair with employee. He clicks. The video plays. It's the same footage from the security cameras, but edited so aggressively it no longer resembles reality. The chemical leak is gone. The chaos is gone. The context is surgically removed. What remains looks like two people stealing a moment alone. Him touching her face, her hand gripping his sleeve, his mouth on hers. Intimate, romantic, scandalous. Whoever made this chose every frame for maximum damage. The comments section scrolls past faster than he can read. Thousands of people who don't know him, don't know Sabine, don't know anything, all deciding they know exactly what happened. Rich people think they can do whatever they want. She's using him for publicity. He's using her for money. This is so fake. This is so real. Poor guy probably lost his job after this. Poor woman probably got manipulated. The opinions contradict each other, but the damage is universal. Everyone has a story they want to believe, and the truth doesn't matter anymore. Mrs. Chen appears in the doorway, dish towel in her hands, face grim. You need to see the news. She turns on the television. Every morning show is running the story. Split screens showing the edited video, alongside photos of Sabine at charity galas and Rylan at his kid's school pickup. Commentators dissecting the optics, debating workplace ethics, speculating about power dynamics and hidden motives. Nobody mentions that he saved her life. Nobody mentions the chemical attack. The narrative has already solidified into something easier to digest. Forbidden romance between a billionaire and the help. One show has Rylan's landlord on the phone, voice muffled but recognizable. He's a good tenant, quiet, but I always wondered how he afforded this place on a plumber's salary. Now, I guess we know. Another has someone claiming to be a former coworker. Rylan always seemed ambitious, like he wanted more than what he had. This doesn't surprise me. Lies, all of it, but it doesn't matter. The story is out there now, alive and spreading, and he can't take it back. His phone buzzes again. This time, it's a call. Sabine. Don't answer your door. Her voice is tight, controlled panic barely contained. Don't talk to anyone. The press is about to descend on you. They already did. He mutes the television. It's everywhere. I know, my legal team is working on takedown notices, but... She pauses. Rylan, this is bad. The board is meeting in an hour. They're talking about removing me for conduct violations. Based on a fake video? Based on optics. That's all that matters to them. He hears her take a shaky breath. And it's not just me. Social services called my assistant 10 minutes ago. They're opening an investigation into your custody arrangement. The words hit him like a punch to the chest. What? Someone filed a complaint, anonymous, claiming you're exposing your children to dangerous situations, that you're emotionally unstable. They want to do a home visit. Rylan looks toward the kitchen where Nova and Kai are eating breakfast, completely unaware that the world is trying to tear their family apart. When? His voice comes out raw. Today, this afternoon. He closes his eyes, breathes, forces his brain to work through the rage and fear. Victor did this. I know. He leaked the video. He called social services. He's trying to destroy both of us at the same time. And it's working. Sabine's voice cracks slightly. Rylan, I'm sorry. I promised I'd protect you and I... Don't. He cuts her off. We're not done yet. What can we possibly... You said Victor has a shadow company, hidden accounts. If we can prove he's been stealing from Arcton Dynamics, the board has to listen. We don't have time to... Then we make time. Rylan stands, adrenaline overriding exhaustion. Where are the financial records kept? Encrypted servers, only accessible from inside the building. Then that's where we're going. Silence on the other end. Then, you can't come back here. Security has orders to detain you on site. Victor made sure of it. Does he know about the service entrance on the lower levels, the one maintenance uses? Another pause. How do you know about that? Because I'm a plumber. I know every entrance in that building. He grabs his jacket. Meet me there in 30 minutes. And bring someone who can access those servers. Rylan, 30 minutes, Sabine. We're ending this today. He hangs up before she can argue. Mrs. Chen stands in the doorway, arms crossed. You're going back there. I have to. And if they arrest you, what happens to Nova and Kai then? If I don't go, I lose them anyway. He moves past her, heading for the door. Can you keep them here, just for a few more hours? She studies him for a long moment. Then nods. Go. But Rylan? She grabs his arm. Come back. Those kids need their father. I will. He hopes he's not lying. The drive to Arcton Dynamics takes 20 minutes through morning traffic that seems designed to test his patience. News vans are parked outside the main entrance, reporters setting up cameras, waiting for someone to interview. He circles the block twice before finding the service entrance, a narrow ramp leading to the loading docks, hidden behind dumpsters and delivery trucks. Sabine is already there, wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap, looking uncomfortable trying to blend in. Beside her stands a young woman with dark skin, natural hair pulled into a puff, laptop bag slung over her shoulder. This is Amara, Sabine gestures to the woman, head of IT security. She can access the servers. Amara looks Rylan up and down, unimpressed. You're the plumber everyone's losing their minds about. That's me. Good. Let's go ruin Victor's day. They slip through the service entrance and into the building's maintenance corridors, concrete hallways lit by flickering fluorescence, the smell of cleaning chemicals and recycled air. Rylan leads them through the maze, past supply closets and mechanical rooms, to a freight elevator that connects to the server room 3 floors below ground level. The elevator groans as it descends. Sabine leans against the wall, exhaustion written across her face. She looks nothing like the polished CEO from the boardroom. She looks human, tired, scared. What happens if we can't find anything? She asks quietly. We will. But what if... We will. Rylan meets her eyes. Because the alternative is unacceptable. The elevator stops. The doors open. The server room stretches before them, like a cathedral of technology. Rows of black towers humming with power. Cables snaking across the floor. Screens blinking with data streams. Cold air pumps through vents, keeping the equipment from overheating. Amara moves to a terminal, fingers flying across the keyboard. What exactly are we looking for? Financial transfers, Sabine says. Shell companies, offshore accounts, anything connecting Victor to unauthorized fund movements. That's a lot of data. Can you do it? Amara's fingers don't stop moving. Give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes feels like 10 hours. Rylan paces between server racks, checking his phone every 30 seconds for messages from Mrs. Chen, from social services, from anyone who might be looking for him. Sabine stands near the terminal, watching Amara work, arms wrapped around herself like she's cold despite the temperature-controlled environment. Got something? Amara's voice cuts through the tension. Multiple accounts registered under dummy corporations, all tracing back to a holding company in the Cayman Islands. And guess who's listed as the primary beneficiary? She turns the screen. Victor Hale's name appears in black and white, connected to dozens of transactions spanning 5 years. Millions of dollars siphoned from Arcton Dynamics projects, filtered through layers of legal protection, ending up in his personal accounts. That's not all. Amara opens another file. He's been buying up competitors, small tech startups that Arcton Dynamics should have acquired. He's building his own empire using your money. Sabine leans closer, reading. Her expression shifts from shock to cold fury. Print everything. I want hard copies. Amara hits print and the machine in the corner whirs to life, spitting out page after page of evidence. Rylan's phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. You shouldn't be here. He looks up, scan the room, nothing. Another text. Did you really think I wouldn't know? The lights go out. Emergency red lighting kicks in, bathing everything in crimson shadows. The servers continue humming, but the terminal Amara was using goes dark. What just happened? Sabine's voice cuts through the darkness. Someone cut the power. Amara tries to restart the terminal. The backup generators should... A hydraulic hiss echoes through the room, the sound of doors locking, heavy, final. They're trapped. Rylan moves to the exit door and pulls, locked solid, electronic deadbolt engaged. He tries the emergency release. Nothing. Victor knows we're here, Sabine whispers. Footsteps echo in the corridor outside. Multiple people. Heavy boots, security. Amara grabs the printed documents, shoving them into her laptop bag. We need another way out. Rylan scans the room, server racks, cable runs, ventilation ducts. Then he sees it, a maintenance access panel in the far corner, barely visible behind the last row of servers. This way! They run. Behind them, the door mechanism grinds as someone overrides it from the outside. The footsteps get louder, closer, security calling out orders to each other. Rylan yanks open the maintenance panel. It's tight, barely wide enough for a person to fit through, but it leads to the building's utility tunnels. He helps Sabine through first, then Amara with her bag of evidence. He squeezes through last, pulling the panel shut behind him, just as the security team floods into the server room. The tunnel is dark and narrow, pipes running along the ceiling, the smell of rust and old water. They crawl forward in silence, moving away from the voices behind them, deeper into the building's hidden infrastructure. After what feels like forever, they reach another access point. Rylan pushes it open and they emerge into a storage room filled with cleaning supplies and forgotten equipment. Amara pulls out her phone. No signal. We're too far underground. We need to get this evidence to the board. Sabine takes the printed documents from Amara's bag, hands shaking. If Victor catches us before... He won't. Rylan opens the storage room door, checking the hallway. Empty. The service elevator is 2 corridors over. We can reach the executive floors from there. They move quickly, staying low, avoiding the main corridors. Rylan leads them through the building's back passages, the routes workers use, the spaces executives never see. They're almost to the elevator when Rylan's phone buzzes again. A photo message. No words, just an image. His trailer. Nova's bike lying on its side in the dirt. The front door hangs open, and in the doorway, just visible in the shadows, a figure standing inside his home. His blood turns to ice. Another message. Your kids are with Mrs. Chen, for now. Sabine sees his face. What is it? He shows her the photo. Her hand flies to her mouth. Oh my God. I have to go. Rylan turns toward the exit. I have to get to them. Wait. Sabine grabs his arm. This is what Victor wants. He's trying to separate us. If you leave now, my kids are in danger. So am I, so is Amara, so are you. Her grip tightens. We're all in danger until we expose him, and we can't do that if we're scattered. Rylan looks at the photo again, at his home violated, at the threat implicit in every pixel. We finish this, Sabine says quietly. Together, right now. And then your children are safe, I promise. He wants to believe her. I want to trust that 30 more minutes won't make the difference between safety and disaster. But every instinct screams at him to run. Another message arrives. Choose wisely, plumber, them or her. And the person who leaked the footage was about to come face to face with Sabine. Who would you choose, your children or the truth? Share your answer in the comments. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. This story isn't over yet. Chapter 7. Victor's office sits on the 88th floor, positioned deliberately 4 floors below Sabine's, close enough to feel connected, distant enough to hide what he's doing. Sabine stands outside the door at 9 a.m., flanked by Eleanor Voss and 2 security guards who insisted on accompanying her. In her hands, she holds a folder thick with printed evidence, financial records, transaction logs, communication threads, everything Amara pulled from the servers before the lockdown. Eleanor knocks once and enters without waiting for permission. Victor sits behind his desk, perfectly composed in a gray suit, phone pressed to his ear. He holds up one finger, just a moment, and finishes his conversation before acknowledging them. Eleanor, Sabine. He sets the phone down, smiling. To what do I owe the unexpected visit? Sabine throws the folder onto his desk. Papers scatter across the polished wood. Evidence spreading like an accusation. Victor glances at them, expression unchanging. What is this? 5 years of embezzlement. Sabine's voice is ice. Shell companies, offshore accounts, technology theft. You've been robbing this company blind while sitting on the board pretending to care about its future. He picks up one of the pages, scanning it casually. These are financial records. They could show anything. They show you. Eleanor steps forward, pulling out specific pages. Transactions traced directly to accounts under your control, purchases made using Arcton Dynamics, funds for companies you secretly own. You've stolen over $40 million. Allegedly, Victor sets the paper down. Do you have proof these accounts are actually mine, or just circumstantial evidence that any decent lawyer will tear apart in court? We have communication logs. Sabine pulls out her phone, opening the message threads Rylan found. Coded conversations between you and your contacts discussing the sabotage, discussing the attack, discussing me. Victor's smile doesn't falter. Coded conversations could mean anything, could be fabricated entirely. Digital evidence is notoriously easy to manufacture. Then explain why you positioned yourself away from the chemical release 30 seconds before it happened. Sabine swipes to the security footage. Explain why you knew exactly when and where the attack would occur. I didn't. He leans back in his chair, completely relaxed. I stepped away because I received a text about an urgent matter. Pure coincidence. Convenient. Reality often is. Victor stands, moving to the window. Sabine, I understand you're under stress. Nearly dying tends to make people paranoid, but accusing me, your partner, your colleague, someone who helped build this company, based on speculation and circumstantial evidence, he turns back to face her. That's not just reckless, it's sad. Sabine's hands clench. You tried to kill me. I saved you. His voice sharpens. When you were unconscious, who called the medics? Who made sure you received the best care? Who protected your reputation when that plumber made a spectacle of the situation? He moves closer. I've done nothing but support you, and this is how you repay me? Eleanor steps between them. Mr. Hale, whether or not these allegations hold up in court, the board has voted to suspend you pending a full investigation. Effective immediately, you're relieved of all operational duties. Victor's composure cracks for just a moment, a flash of anger in his eyes, gone so quickly Sabine almost thinks she imagined it. On whose authority? Mine? As board chair. Eleanor hands him an envelope. Inside you'll find the formal notification. You have 24 hours to vacate your office and surrender your access credentials. Victor opens the envelope, reads quickly, then looks up at Sabine. You think you've won. I think you're done. No. He sets the letter on his desk, smoothing out the creases. You've just made this personal, and when things get personal, Sabine, people get hurt. His eyes shift to the window, down toward the city. People like your new friend, the plumber with the 2 beautiful children. What were their names? Nova and Kai? Sabine's blood goes cold. Don't. The word comes out sharp, warning. Don't what? Notice that he's inserted himself into a situation way beyond his understanding. Notice that his presence has made both of your lives infinitely more complicated. Victor picks up his phone, scrolling through something. Social services opened an investigation into his custody arrangement this morning. Anonymous tip about endangerment, drug use, neglect, all completely fabricated, of course. But once social services get involved, he trails off, letting the implication hang. You're threatening his children. Eleanor's voice cuts through the tension. I'm stating facts. Victor pockets his phone. Rylan Creed made choices. He involved himself in corporate matters. He positioned himself between me and my objectives. Actions have consequences. He looks directly at Sabine, and if you continue down this path, those consequences will extend beyond just him. Sabine steps forward, close enough to see the calculated coldness in his eyes. You won't touch them. I won't have to. He moves past her toward the door. The system will do it for me. Social services will remove those kids from his care. The press will destroy what's left of his reputation. And you? He pauses in the doorway. You'll spend the rest of your life knowing you're the reason a man lost everything. He walks out, leaving the three of them standing in his office, surrounded by evidence that should have been enough to destroy him, but somehow wasn't. Eleanor breaks the silence first. He's right about one thing. This evidence alone won't hold up in court. We need something concrete, something undeniable. We have financial records. That can be explained away by a team of expensive lawyers. Eleanor shakes her head. What we need is a confession, or a witness, someone who participated in the sabotage who's willing to testify. Sabine pulls out her phone and calls Rylan. He answers on the first ring. Are you safe? For now, Victor's been suspended, but she pauses. He knows about Nova and Kai. He's the one who called social services. Silence on the other end, then, where is he now? He just left. Rylan, we need more evidence. The financial records aren't enough. Then we get more. How? Victor mentioned other people, contacts who helped him. If we can find one of them, flip them. That could take weeks. We don't have weeks. Rylan's voice drops. Then we force his hand, make him slip up, make him so angry he stops being careful. Sabine looks at Eleanor, who's watching her with sharp, assessing eyes. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we do exactly what he doesn't expect. Rylan's tone shifts, determined and reckless in equal measure. We go public, hold a press conference, tell the entire world what he's done. Without proof, we'll look desperate, unstable, exactly. He cuts her off, but we'll also force him to respond. And when he does, when he tries to defend himself, he'll make a mistake. People always do it when they think they're smarter than everyone else. Eleanor nods slowly. It's risky, but it might work. Sabine thinks about Victor's smile, about his threats, about the casual way he mentioned Rylan's children like they were just leverage in a game only he knew how to play. Set up the press conference, she says. 1 hour, main lobby. Sabine, Eleanor starts. He wants to make this personal? Fine, let's make it personal. She hangs up and turns to the security guards. I need eyes on Victor Hale. Every move he makes, every call he takes, every person he meets. I want to know before he does. The guards nod and leave. Eleanor studies her. You're betting everything on this. I already lost everything the moment he tried to kill me. Sabine moves toward the door. Now, I'm just taking it back. An hour later, the main lobby of Arcton Dynamics fills with reporters, cameras, microphones, and the kind of chaotic energy that comes when a scandal reaches critical mass. News vans line the street outside. Photographers push against security barriers. The air crackles with anticipation. Sabine stands backstage in a small prep room, running through notes she doesn't need. She knows what she's going to say. She's been practicing it in her head since the moment Victor walked out of his office. Amara appears in the doorway. They're ready for you. And Rylan just arrived. He's waiting in the wings. Good. Sabine smooths her jacket. How do I look? Like someone about to commit professional suicide. Amara grins. I love it. Sabine walks to the stage entrance and finds Rylan standing there, dressed in the same button-up shirt from this morning, looking completely out of place among the corporate setup. You don't have to be here, she says quietly. Yes, I do. He meets her eyes. We're in this together, remember? She nods, something tight in her chest loosening slightly. A production assistant counts down. Live at 5, 4, 3. Sabine steps onto the stage and into the blinding lights of 24 cameras. The room goes silent. She approaches the microphone, the crowd of reporters pressing forward, questions already forming on their lips. She raises one hand, silencing them. My name is Sabine Arcton. 3 days ago, someone tried to kill me in my own building. Today, I'm here to tell you who. The room erupts. Sabine doesn't wait for them to quiet down. Victor Hale, VP of Operations at Arcton Dynamics, orchestrated a chemical attack designed to remove me from my position. He failed, and when that didn't work, he leaked edited footage to destroy my credibility. He filed false reports with social services to threaten the man who saved my life. He's stolen over $40 million from this company, and he's done all of it believing he's untouchable. Cameras flash like lightning. Reporters shout questions over each other. The noise builds into a wall of sound. I have evidence. Sabine holds up the folder. Financial records, communication logs, security footage showing his involvement, and I'm releasing all of it. Today. Right now. She drops the folder onto the podium and pages scatter. Behind her, on the massive screen, Amara projects the documents for everyone to see. Account numbers, transaction histories, message threads, everything. The reporters go wild, and somewhere in the building, watching from a screen in his office, Victor Hale finally stops smiling. The files revealed a plan, and Rylan was at the center of it. Do you think Victor will retaliate or retreat? Drop your prediction below. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss how this ends. Every comment helps us bring you more stories like this. Chapter 8. The Global Summit venue spans 3 city blocks in downtown Phoenix. Glass and steel architecture designed to impress world leaders, with security checkpoints at every entrance and snipers positioned on rooftops. Tonight, the world's most powerful tech executives gather to discuss the future of digital infrastructure. Sabine was scheduled to deliver the keynote speech. Victor was supposed to introduce her. Now, both of them walk through separate entrances, surrounded by security teams, pretending the press conference from 6 hours ago didn't just detonate both of their careers. Rylan watches from the service corridor behind the main stage, dressed in borrowed security uniform that's slightly too small across the shoulders. Getting him inside required 3 fake credentials, 2 bribes, and Amara's ability to hack the venue's security database. He's not supposed to be here. Neither is the recording device hidden in his jacket pocket. Eleanor Voss arranged everything. If Victor's going to make a move, she said this morning, it'll be tonight, when everyone's watching, when the stakes are highest. On stage, the summit coordinator introduces the evening's agenda. Behind Rylan, crew members adjust lighting rigs and double-check audio feeds. Everything runs with precision timing, each speech scheduled to the minute, each transition rehearsed until seamless. Sabine appears backstage, flanked by her legal team and 2 bodyguards. She looks exhausted, makeup covering the dark circles under her eyes, posture held rigid through sheer willpower. The press conference broke every social media platform. Within an hour, Victor's name trended worldwide. Within 2 hours, the SEC announced an investigation. Within 3 hours, half the board called emergency meetings. But nothing's proven yet. Nothing's final, and everyone knows the real battle happens tonight. Victor arrives through the opposite entrance, surrounded by his own team of lawyers. He spots Sabine across the backstage area, and his mouth curves into something that might be a smile if smiles could cut. He crosses the space between them, ignoring the security personnel who tense at his approach. "Quite a performance this afternoon," he says quietly. "Very dramatic, very emotional, very desperate." Sabine doesn't look at him. "Walk away, Victor, before this gets worse." "Worse?" He laughs, soft and cold. "Sabine, you don't understand. This is just the opening act." He leans closer, voice dropping. "I've spent 5 years building insurance policies, evidence of your own mistakes, decisions you made that broke laws, people you hurt climbing to the top. All of it is documented. All of it is ready to be released." "You're bluffing." "Am I?" He straightens, adjusting his cufflinks. "In 15 minutes, I will go on stage. I will give my introduction. And then I show the world who you really are." He starts to walk away, pauses. "Oh, and tell your plumber friend his kids are adorable. I saw them this morning at school. Nova's learning to ride without training wheels. Kai still struggles with his R sounds. Such sweet children. It would be terrible if something happened to their father." Sabine's bodyguards move forward, but she raises a hand, stopping them. "If you touch them, I won't have to." Victor's smile widens. "You did this to him. You involved him. Whatever happens next is on your conscience, not mine." He disappears into the crowd of executives and staffers, leaving Sabine standing alone, hands shaking with rage she can't express. Rylan steps out from his hiding spot. "I heard everything." She spins, surprised. "You shouldn't be here." Neither should he. Rylan taps the recording device in his pocket. "But here we are." "He threatened your children." "He's been threatening my children since this started." Rylan moves closer, keeping his voice low. "The question is, what are we going to do about it?" Before Sabine can answer, the coordinator appears, clipboard in hand, stress radiating from every movement. Ms. Arcton, Mr. Hale, you're both needed for final prep. Summit goes live in 10 minutes. They're separated. Sabine moved to one prep area, Victor to another, kept apart by handlers and schedules, and the pretense of professionalism. Rylan follows Sabine, staying close but unnoticed among the crowd of crew members. In the prep room, Sabine's legal team reviews her speech, suggesting edits, warning her about potential lawsuits, reminding her that everything she says tonight will be scrutinized by lawyers for years. And just stick to the facts, her lead attorney says. Don't make accusations you can't prove. Don't say anything that could be used against you. So, basically, say nothing. Sabine's voice drips with frustration. Say nothing Victor's team can weaponize? Yes. She looks at herself in the mirror, expensive suit, perfect hair, makeup that makes her look strong instead of terrified. She looks like someone in control. She feels like someone is drowning. Her phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number, bomb threat called in to venue security, evacuating in 5 minutes. Consider this your final warning. She stares at the message, pulse hammering. Another text arrives. Walk away tonight. Resign quietly, and everyone stays safe. Her hands tighten on the phone. She thinks about Victor's threat, about Rylan's kids, about the $40 million stolen, about the chemical attack that almost killed her, about every injustice that led to this moment, and she makes a decision. She stands smoothing her jacket. I'm going on stage. Sabine, wait. Her attorney reaches for her arm. No more waiting. She moves toward the door. No more being careful. No more letting him control the narrative. Rylan follows her into the corridor. What are you doing? Ending this. She walks toward the stage entrance, heels clicking against polished floor. One way or another, the coordinator intercepts them. Ms. Arcton, there's been a security situation. We're implementing evacuation protocols. No, Sabine pushes past him. That's exactly what he wants, to stop me from speaking, to delay until his lawyers can bury the evidence. She turns to Rylan. How long until the recording device in your pocket gets what we need? He glances at his watch. Victor goes on in 3 minutes. If he says anything incriminating, he will. She looks toward the stage where Victor waits in the wings, confident and composed and convinced he's already won. People like him can't help themselves. They always need the last word. Security personnel appear, moving through the backstage area, quietly directing people toward exits. The coordinator speaks urgently into his radio. Someone shouts about protocol. Someone else mentions the police. But on stage, the lights are still on. The cameras are still rolling. The audience, thousands of tech executives, investors, journalists, still sits waiting for the keynote to begin. Victor steps onto the stage, microphone in hand, smile perfect for the cameras. Good evening. His voice fills the venue, amplified and authoritative. We've had quite a week at Arcton Dynamics. Some of you may have seen the news. Some of you may have questions. He pauses, letting tension build. Let me address them directly. Rylan's recording device activates, capturing every word. Sabine Arcton and I built this company together, Victor continues. But lately, she's become erratic, paranoid, making accusations without evidence, endangering employees. This afternoon's press conference was the culmination of months of declining mental health. The audience murmurs. Cameras focus tighter. I've tried to help her, to protect her, but she's gone too far. Victor's expression shifts to something that almost looks like sympathy. Which is why, effective tonight, I'm assuming temporary leadership of Arcton Dynamics, for the good of the company, for the good of everyone involved. Backstage, Sabine moves toward the stage entrance. Her attorneys try to stop her. Security moves to intervene. But Rylan steps between them and her, blocking their path just long enough for her to reach the wings. Victor! Her voice cuts through his speech. She steps onto the stage, into the lights, in front of thousands of people. You forgot something. He turns, surprise flickering across his face before he masks it. Sabine, you should be resting. You forgot to mention the $40 million. She walks toward him, the distance between them shrinking with each step. The shell companies, the offshore accounts, technology theft. She stops 3 feet away. The chemical attack you orchestrated, the employee you threatened, the children you used as leverage. The venue goes silent. Every camera, every microphone, every phone capturing the moment. Victor's composure cracks. These are baseless accusations, with evidence. She pulls out her phone, projecting the financial records onto the massive screen behind them. Bank statements, transaction logs, communication threads, all of it connects directly to you. Fabricated, verified by forensic accountants, confirmed by the SEC. She steps closer. You tried to take everything from me, my company, my reputation, my life, and when that didn't work, you went after an innocent man and his children. Victor's mask slips entirely. You brought him into this. You made him a target by refusing to let this go. No. Sabine's voice drops, steady and dangerous. You made him a target the moment you decided he was expendable, just like you decided I was. You were always expendable, Sabine. Victor's anger breaks through, raw and ugly. You built this company on my ideas, my designs, my work. You just put your name on everything and played CEO while I did the real labor. And when I asked for what I deserved, partnership, equity, recognition, you pushed me out. His voice rises. So yes, I took what was mine. I built my own company using resources you stole from me first. And if removing you required collateral damage, he glances toward the wings where Rylan stands. That's just business. The recording device captures everything. The audience erupts. Security moves onto the stage. Victor realizes too late what he's done, confessed on camera, in front of thousands of witnesses, his anger overriding his caution, exactly like Sabine predicted. He lunges toward her, hand reaching for her arm, fury distorting his features. You ruined me! Rylan appears between them, blocking Victor's path. Don't touch her! Victor laughs, high and sharp. The plumber, of course, playing the hero again. He shoves Rylan backward. You should have stayed in your trailer, should have kept your head down, should have... He stops mid-sentence, face going pale. His hand flies to his chest. His breath comes in short gasps. His knees buckle and he collapses onto the stage, clutching his ribs, struggling for air. The chemical attack. The same symptoms, the same desperate fight for oxygen. But this time, there's no canister, no leak. Just Victor, falling the same way Sabine did 3 days ago. Poetic justice delivered in front of the entire world. Sabine drops to her knees beside him, checking his pulse, her medical training overriding everything else. Someone call an ambulance. Rylan kneels on Victor's other side, tilting his chin up, checking his airway. He's breathing, shallow but present. Panic attack, Sabine says, recognizing the signs. Stress-induced. He's not dying, just feels like he is. Victor's eyes find hers, wide with fear and something that might be understanding. For the first time since this started, he looks human, vulnerable, terrified. Breathe, she tells him quietly. Slow. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You're going to be fine. Paramedics rush onto the stage, pushing through security and confused executives. They load Victor onto a gurney, oxygen mask over his face, vital signs stabilizing. As they wheel him away, his hand reaches out, gripping Sabine's sleeve weakly. She leans closer. I'm sorry, he whispers, barely audible, maybe genuine, maybe just the fear of talking. Then he's gone, disappearing into the chaos of flashing lights and shouting reporters and a world that just watched a billionaire's empire crumble in real time. Sabine stands, legs shaking, adrenaline finally crashing. Rylan catches her elbow, steadying her. You okay? He asks. No. She looks at the crowd, at the camera still recording, at the evidence projected on the screen behind them. But we won. Eleanor Voss appears on stage, moving through security with the authority of someone who's spent decades navigating corporate warfare. The board has called an emergency vote. Victor Hale is being removed from all positions effective immediately. Criminal charges are being filed, and Sabine. She pauses, expression softening slightly. You're being reinstated, full authority. No restrictions. Sabine nods, too exhausted to feel relief. There's one more thing. Eleanor pulls out her phone, showing a message from social services. The investigation into Mr. Creed has been closed. Someone, anonymously, provided evidence that all complaints were fabricated. His custody is secure. Rylan exhales, the weight he's been carrying for 3 days finally lifting. My kids are safe, waiting for you. Eleanor hands him the phone. Mrs. Chen has them. They're watching cartoons. They don't know any of this happened. He takes the phone with shaking hands, reading the message 3 times to make sure it's real. Behind them, the summit coordinator approaches, clipboard clutched like a lifeline. Ms. Arcton, we still have 1,700 people waiting for a keynote address. Do you want to? No. Sabine looks at Rylan, then at Eleanor, then at the audience beyond the lights. I think they've heard enough for tonight. She walks off stage, Rylan beside her, leaving behind the cameras and questions and chaos. They exit through the service corridor, the same path Rylan used to enter, moving through darkness and concrete until they reach the loading dock, where fresh air and night sky wait. Sabine leans against the wall, closing her eyes. It's over. Not yet. Rylan holds up the recording device. We still need to make sure this gets to the right people. Eleanor, the SEC, anyone who can use it. Already done. Amara appears from the shadows, laptop in hand. I've been streaming the audio to 6 different backup servers, cloud storage, encrypted files, redundant systems. Even if Victor's lawyers try to bury it, it's out there. How long have you been here? The whole time, she grins. You think I'd miss this? Sabine laughs, actual genuine laughter that sounds foreign after days of tension. Thank you, both of you. Amara shrugs. Someone had to save your reputation. Might as well be the IT department. A car pulls up, sleek, black, Arcton Dynamics logo on the door. The driver steps out, opening the rear door. Your ride, Ms. Arcton, Mr. Creed. Eleanor's voice comes through the driver's phone. I'm sending you both somewhere safe. No press, no questions. Just rest. You've earned it. Sabine looks at Rylan. You should go home. See your kids. I will. He climbs into the car. After we finish this. She slides in beside him. The door closes. The driver pulls away from the venue, leaving behind the lights and noise, heading into the quieter parts of the city. They sit in silence for a long time, watching Phoenix scroll past the windows, streetlights and closed shops and people living ordinary lives, unaware that 3 blocks away, a man just confessed to attempted murder on live television. What happens now? Rylan asks finally. Now? Sabine leans her head back against the seat. Now, Victor goes to prison. The SEC seizes his assets. The board implements new oversight protocols. And I spend the next year rebuilding trust that should never have been broken. And me? She looks at him. What do you want? He thinks about the question. About his trailer with the patched roof. About Nova and Kai waiting for him to come home. About the life he had 3 days ago that felt impossible and exhausting and barely sustainable. I want my kids to be safe. I want a job that doesn't require 3 different employers. He trails off. I want normal. Normal's overrated. Sabine's mouth curves into a small smile. But I can offer you something better. What's that? Security, stability. A position at Arcton Dynamics doing what you do best. Fixing things people don't notice until they break. Proper salary, benefits, respect. She pauses. And a guarantee that no one will ever use your children as leverage again. Rylan studies her face, looking for the catch. Why? Because you saved my life. Because you stood beside me when you had every reason to walk away. Because, she hesitates. Because people like you, people who act when everyone else freezes, are rare, and I don't want to lose that. The car stops outside a small hotel, discreet and elegant, far from the downtown chaos. Think about it. Sabine says as they exit. No pressure, no obligation, just an offer. They walk into the lobby, security sweeping the area before allowing them to proceed. Eleanor arranged adjoining suites on the top floor, safe, private, guarded. At Sabine's door, Rylan pauses. Thank you for keeping your promise about my kids. I told you I would. Yeah, but he searches for words. People say a lot of things. You actually meant it. She meets his eyes. I always mean it. He nods, something unspoken passing between them. Understanding, maybe. Respect. The beginning of trust that's been tested and survived. Get some rest, she says. Tomorrow's going to be chaos. Tomorrow's always chaos. He unlocks his door. But at least tonight, my kids are safe. He closes the door behind him and immediately calls Mrs. Chen. She answers on the first ring. They're fine, asleep. Fed, happy. No idea their father just saved the world. I didn't save. Yes, you did. Her voice is firm. Now come home. They need to see you. I will, first thing in the morning. He hangs up and sits on the edge of the bed, finally alone with his thoughts. His phone buzzes constantly. Messages from people he hasn't talked to in years, friend requests from strangers, news alerts about Victor's confession. He turns it off. In the silence, he realizes something. He's not the same person who walked into that building 3 days ago. That Rylan was just surviving, head down, invisible. This Rylan stood on a stage in front of thousands and refused to disappear. He's not sure which version he prefers, but he knows which one his kids need. Minutes before the summit began, Victor made his move, and Sabine wasn't breathing again. What would you do with a second chance at life? Share your story in the comments. Subscribe and turn on notifications. The final chapter drops soon, and you won't want to miss how this ends. Every comment, every share helps us bring you more inspiring stories. Chapter 9. 3 weeks later, Rylan stands in front of a crowd of 500 people gathered in the Arctun Dynamics auditorium, and he can't remember why he agreed to this. The lights are too bright. The microphone is too close. Every face in the audience watches him, with the kind of expectation usually reserved for people who know what they're doing. Sabine stands in the front row, smiling encouragement. Eleanor sits beside her, arms crossed but expression neutral. Amara gives him a thumbs up from the tech booth in the back. And in the third row, impossible but real, Nova and Kai, dressed in their best clothes, sitting with Mrs. Chen, waving at him like he's a superhero instead of a plumber who got lucky. He clears his throat. The room goes quiet. I'm not good at speeches, he starts, voice amplified through speakers that make him sound more confident than he feels. I fix pipes, I replace water heaters, I unclog drains. That's what I know. He pauses. 3 weeks ago, I walked into this building for what should have been a routine job, and everything changed. The audience leans forward slightly, collectively invested in a story they already know from headlines and viral videos and social media debates. I'm not a hero, Rylan continues. I just did what anyone should have done. I helped someone who needed help. That's it. He looks at Sabine. But what I didn't expect was that helping her would mean she'd help me back. Would mean all of you would help me back. He gestures to the crowd, employees, board members, press representatives, people whose names he doesn't know, but whose faces he recognizes from these past 3 weeks of depositions and interviews and testimonies. Victor Hale tried to destroy Ms. Arcton because he believed power meant more than people. He tried to destroy me because he believed I didn't matter. He was wrong on both counts. Rylan's voice strengthens. Because people always matter. Whether you're a CEO or a plumber, or a kid learning to ride a bike without training wheels, you matter. Your voice matters. Your choices matter. Nova beams at the mention of her bike. Kai bounces in his seat, unable to contain his excitement at seeing his dad on stage. Today, Ms. Arcton is announcing a new program. Rylan steps aside, letting Sabine take the microphone. She rises, moving to the podium with the grace of someone born for stages. The Creed Community Initiative, she announces, will provide affordable housing, educational resources, and job training for working families in underserved communities. Starting with a $50 million investment, growing every year, the audience erupts into applause. Cameras flash, people stand. Sabine raises a hand, quieting them. But more than funding, this program represents a promise. A promise that companies like Arctun Dynamics won't just extract value from communities, we'll invest in them. We'll see people, not resources. We'll build up, not tear down. She turns to Rylan, and Rylan Creed will lead the initiative as our Chief Community Officer, full-time position, full benefits, full authority to make decisions that prioritize people over profit. Rylan blinks, surprised despite having discussed this job offer multiple times over the past 2 weeks. Hearing it announced publicly makes it real in a way private conversations didn't. Additionally, Sabine continues, Mr. Creed will serve on Arctun Dynamics' board of directors. because perspective matters. And we need voices that understand what it's like to work 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. The applause intensifies. Nova and Kai jump up, cheering louder than everyone else combined. Eleanor approaches the microphone. Victor Hale has been formally charged with embezzlement, corporate fraud, attempted murder, and conspiracy. He's currently awaiting trial. His assets have been seized. His shadow companies were dismantled. She pauses. And every dollar he stole is being returned to Arcton Dynamics, where it will fund programs like the one Ms. Arcton just announced. More applause, more cameras, more questions shouted from the press section. But Sabine steps back from the podium, moving toward Rylan, lowering her voice so only he can hear. You don't have to accept. The job, the board position, none of it. I meant what I said. No pressure. I know. He looks at Nova and Kai, at their faces lit with pride and joy. But I'm tired of just surviving. I want to build something, for them, for other families like us. Sabine smiles, genuine and warm. Then, welcome to the team. The rest of the event passes in a blur. Handshakes and congratulations and interview requests. Rylan politely declines. By the time it ends, his face hurts from smiling, and his voice is hoarse from answering the same questions in different variations. Nova and Kai tackle him the moment he steps off stage. "Daddy, you were on TV," Kai shouts, wrapping around his leg. "Everyone at school saw you." "You look so cool," Nova adds, hugging his waist. "Like a movie star, but better." Mrs. Chen approaches, shaking her head with affection. "You're going to have to get used to attention now. No more hiding." "I wasn't hiding," Rylan protests weakly. "Yes, you were." She pats his arm. "But that's okay. Sometimes hiding is survival. Now you can do more than survive." She's right, he realizes. For years he kept his head down, stayed invisible, and avoided making waves. Not because he wanted to, but because he couldn't afford the risk. Couldn't afford to lose work, lose housing, lose custody. But now, with security, with support, with people who actually see him, he can be visible, can speak up, can make choices based on what's right instead of what's safe. It's terrifying, but it's also freeing. Sabine finds them in the lobby an hour later, surrounded by Rylan's new co-workers who want to introduce themselves. She pulls him aside gently. "There's someone here to see you." She leads him to a small conference room where a woman in her 40s sits waiting, dressed professionally, folded in her lap. "Mr. Creed, I'm Jennifer Hawthorne. I work for the state's social services division." She stands, offering a handshake. "I wanted to meet you personally. To apologize." Rylan tenses instinctively. "For what?" "For how your case was handled. The anonymous complaints filed against you were clearly fabricated, but our system processed them without proper verification. You and your children were put through unnecessary stress because we failed to do our due diligence." She opens the folder, showing him official documents. "I've closed your case permanently, noted in your file that all previous complaints were proven false, and I'm recommending policy changes so this doesn't happen to other families." Rylan takes the documents, reading them twice to make sure he understands. "So we're okay? Nova and Kai are exactly where they should be, with a father who loves them and provides for them." Jennifer's expression softens. "What you did, standing up to people with more power, more resources, that took courage. I hope you know that." "I was just trying to protect my kids." "That's what courage is." She gathers her folder. "If you ever need anything, character references, documentation, support, please don't hesitate to call." She hands him a business card. "And Mr. Creed, thank you for reminding us why we do this work, to protect families, not tear them apart." She leaves, and Rylan sits alone in the conference room, holding documents that prove his children are safe, his custody secure, his family intact. Sabine reappears in the doorway. "Good news?" "The best." He stands pocketing the documents. "It's really over." "Not over," she corrects gently. "Changed. You're not going back to who you were before. None of us are." "Is that good?" "I think so." She leans against the doorframe. "I've been thinking about what you said, about normal being what you wanted, and I realized normal is overrated, but building something better than normal, that's worth fighting for." Rylan nods slowly. "So what happens now?" "Now you go home. spend time with your kids, rest, recover. She smiles. And Monday, you start changing the world. That's a lot of pressure. You've handled worse. He laughs, surprising himself. She's right. He survived Victor Hale, corporate espionage, public scandal, and threats against his children. Starting a job, even one as impossibly ambitious as chief community officer, feels manageable in comparison. They walk back to the lobby together, where Nova and Kai wait with Mrs. Chen, playing some game that involves counting floor tiles and jumping in patterns only they understand. Ready to go home? Rylan asks them. Can we get ice cream first? Kai asks hopefully. Please, Nova adds, eyes wide with practiced sweetness. Rylan looks at Sabine, who's watching the exchange with an expression he can't quite read. Want to join us? She hesitates. I don't want to intrude on your family time. You're not intruding. Nova grabs Sabine's hand. You're part of the family now, right, Daddy? Rylan meets Sabine's eyes over his daughter's head. Something passes between them. Gratitude, recognition, the beginning of something neither of them expected, but both are willing to explore. Right, he agrees. Come on, B, ice cream's better with friends. They leave Arcton Dynamics together, plumber and billionaire, and 2 kids and an elderly neighbor, walking into the Phoenix evening like any other family out for ice cream. People on the street recognize them, pointing and whispering, but nobody approaches. They're just people tonight, just normal. Well, normal adjacent. At the ice cream shop, Nova orders strawberries. Kai orders chocolate with gummy bears. Mrs. Chen orders vanilla. Sabine orders pistachio, admitting she's never actually had ice cream from a shop like this before. Always catered events, private chefs, carefully curated experiences that removed all spontaneity. You're missing out, Kai informs her seriously. Ice cream is better when you pick it yourself. I'm learning that, Sabine agrees, tasting it and smiling. They sit at a small table on the sidewalk, watching people pass, talking about nothing important. Nova's progress without training wheels, Kai's upcoming birthday, Mrs. Chen's garden that keeps producing more tomatoes than anyone can eat. Easy conversation, the kind Rylan used to think only happened in other people's lives. His phone buzzes, a text from Eleanor. Board approved your appointment. Welcome officially. Don't mess this up. He shows Sabine, who laughs. That's Eleanor's version of enthusiasm. I'll take it. Another text arrives, this one from Amara. Already designed your new office. It has windows. You're welcome. She's been planning this for weeks, Sabine admits. The moment I mentioned hiring you, she started organizing. Should I be worried? Probably, but in a good way. Nova tugs on his sleeve. Daddy, can Bee come over tomorrow? I want to show her my drawings. Sabine looks surprised. If your dad says it's okay, of course it's okay. Rylan can't remember the last time Nova asked to show anyone her drawings. She's usually shy, protective of her art. Come for dinner, fair warning, I'm not a great cook. Neither am I, Sabine grins. We'll figure it out. They finish their ice cream as the sun sets, painting the sky orange and pink and purple. The temperature drops from unbearable to merely uncomfortable, Phoenix at its best. Mrs. Chen stands brushing off her skirt. I should get home, but Rylan, she touches his shoulder. You did good. Your wife would be proud. His throat tightens. Thanks, Mrs. Chen. She pats his cheek and walks away, leaving them at the small table with empty ice cream cups and the quiet satisfaction of survival. Tell me about her, Sabine says quietly. Your wife, if you want to. Rylan looks at Nova and Kai, who've wandered to the nearby fountain, throwing pennies and making wishes. Her name was Jasmine. She was funny. Patient, way too good for me. He smiles at the memory. She used to say I worried too much, that I needed to trust the universe to work things out. Do you trust the universe? Not really. He meets Sabine's eyes. But I'm learning to trust people. That's progress. She nods, understanding without needing explanation. They sit in comfortable silence, watching his children play, watching the city move around them. For the first time in years, Rylan feels something unfamiliar. Peace, not happiness exactly, not the absence of problems, just peace. The knowledge that tomorrow might be hard, but tonight is enough. Thank you, he says finally, for everything. You saved my life first, Sabine reminds him. Yeah, But you save more than that. He gestures vaguely. You save my future, my kid's future. That's bigger. She reaches across the table, squeezing his hand briefly. Then we're even. They're not, he thinks. They never will be. But maybe that's okay. Maybe some debts aren't meant to be repaid, just honored. Nova and Kai return, demanding to go home, exhausted from the long day. Sabine offers to drive them, but Rylan declines. His truck is in the parking garage, and he's learned to accept help without becoming dependent on it. Tomorrow then, Sabine says. Dinner, drawings, whatever happens. Whatever happens, Rylan agrees. They part ways, Sabine heading to her car, Rylan loading his kids into his battered truck that's held together by hope and duct tape and desperately needs new tires. I like B, Nova says from the back seat. She's nice. Yeah, Kai adds. And she smells good. Rylan laughs, starting the engine. She is nice. And yes, she smells good. Are you going to marry her? Nova asks, with the casual bluntness only 8-year-olds can manage. What? No, we're friends. But you smile when you talk to her. I smile when I talk to Mrs. Chen. Does that mean I'm marrying her? That's different, Nova insists. This is a special smile. Rylan catches her eye in the rearview mirror. There's no special smile. Yes, there is, Kai joins in. Mama used to make you smile like that. His chest tightens. Maybe, but that doesn't mean... It's okay. Daddy, Nova interrupts. If you want to smile at B, we don't mind. He doesn't know what to say to that. So he just drives, letting the conversation drift to other topics. What they want for breakfast. Whether they can watch a movie before bed. Why dinosaurs don't exist anymore. Normal questions. Normal night. Normal family driving home through a city that's already forgetting about corporate scandals and viral videos. By the time they reach the trailer park, both kids are asleep, heads tilted against their seatbelts. Rylan carries them inside one at a time, tucking them into beds, kissing foreheads, whispering that he loves them even though they can't hear. Then he sits on his patch couch in his cramped living room and realizes something. This might not be permanent. In a few months, he'll have enough money to move, to buy a real house with a yard and separate bedrooms and doors that lock properly. But tonight, this is home, and that's enough. His phone buzzes one last time, a text from Sabine. Thank you for tonight, for including me. I forgot what normal feels like. He types back, same, see you tomorrow. Her response arrives immediately, looking forward to it. He sets the phone down, leaning back against the taped cushions, and lets himself believe that maybe, just maybe, the universe is finally working things out. But Sabine had one more surprise, one that would change Rylan's life forever. What do you think happens next for Rylan and his family? Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The final chapter is coming, and it's going to be unforgettable. Your support means everything, and your comments inspire us to keep bringing you these stories. Chapter 10. 6 months later, Rylan stands in front of a house he never thought he'd own. 2 stories. Cream-colored siding, a front yard big enough for Nova to practice riding her bike, and Kai to build imaginary cities with sticks and rocks. The "Sold" sign still stands in the lawn, red letters declaring victory over years of impossible dreams. Nova runs past him, shouting about which bedroom she wants. Kai follows, dragging his backpack full of toy trucks. Mrs. Chen sits on the front steps, shaking her head with a smile that says, I told you things would work out. Sabine leans against her car in the driveway, watching the chaos with amusement. Are you going to go inside, or just stand there all day? I'm processing, Rylan says, not moving. Process faster. We have furniture arriving in an hour. He finally walks up the steps, through the front door that doesn't stick, into a living room that's 3 times the size of his entire trailer. Sunlight pours through windows that aren't cracked or patched. The floors are clean, the walls are painted. Everything smells new. Nova appears at the top of the stairs. Daddy, my room has a closet. That's what rooms usually have, he calls back. Our old room didn't. She's right. Their trailer bedrooms had one shared closet barely big enough for coats. Kai joins her, bouncing with excitement. And there's a backyard, a real one. Rylan climbs the stairs, checking out the bedrooms. 2 for the kids, 1 for him. and a spare that could be an office or guest room, or just empty space that doesn't need to be filled immediately. Luxuries he spent years not even imagining. In the master bedroom, he stands at the window overlooking the backyard. A wooden fence marks the property line. A small patio suggests summer barbecues. Grass grows thick and green, already needing to be mowed. "It's real," Sabine's voice comes from the doorway. He turns. "I keep thinking I'm going to wake up." "You're not." She steps into the room, handing him a folder. "This is yours. Deed, paperwork, everything. No mortgage, no debt, just home." He opens the folder, seeing his name on official documents. "Sabine, this is too much." "It's not." She cuts him off. The Creed Community Initiative bought 20 properties in this neighborhood. This one became available first. I made sure it went to the person the program was named after. She pauses. "Besides, you've been sleeping on Mrs. Chen's couch for 6 months. That's dedication above and beyond." I offered to go back to the trailer, which was condemned after the second break-in. She raises an eyebrow. "You needed this. Your kids needed this. Stop arguing." He wants to protest more, wants to insist he can't accept this level of generosity. But Nova's laughter echoes from downstairs, pure and happy and unrestrained, and Kai's voice joins hers. Both of them safe and home and free from the fear that defined their old life. "Thank you," he says finally, "for all of it. You earned it." Sabine moves to leave, then hesitates. "Also, there's something else." "More something else? I don't think I can handle anything else." She pulls an envelope from her jacket pocket. "The board voted yesterday. Arcton Dynamics is establishing a scholarship fund in your wife's name, Jasmine Creed Memorial Scholarship. Full tuition, room, and board for students from low-income families pursuing healthcare careers." Rylan takes the envelope with shaking hands. Open it, read the formal announcement. Seeing Jasmine's name printed in elegant text, her photo from their wedding day at the top of the page, his vision blurs. He blinks rapidly, trying to focus. "She wanted to be a nurse," he manages. "Before we had kids, before the bills piled up. She always talked about going back to school, but we never..." He trails off. "Now other people can," Sabine says gently. "Because of her, because of you, because you didn't give up." He folds the paper carefully, sliding it back into the envelope. "She would have liked you." "Yeah? Yeah. She always said I needed friends who challenged me, who didn't let me hide." He smiles despite the tears. "You definitely challenge me." "Good. Someone has to." Sabine heads for the stairs. "Now, come on. Furniture's arriving, and I'm not unloading it by myself." The next hour is controlled chaos. Delivery trucks pulling up, workers hauling couches and beds and dining tables. Nova and Kai directing everyone with the confidence of tiny generals. Mrs. Chen makes sandwiches in the new kitchen, declaring the refrigerator much better than that old one that hummed like a dying cat. By evening, the house looks lived in, not perfect. Boxes still stacked in corners, pictures leaning against walls waiting to be hung, but real. Theirs. Amara arrives with pizza and a housewarming gift, a smart home system she insists on installing immediately. "You need security cameras, motion sensors, the works." "It's a quiet neighborhood," Rylan protests. "So is your trailer park. She's already unpacking equipment. Humor me." Eleanor shows up an hour later with wine and stern instructions about maintaining property value, but her expression softens when Nova gives her a tour, proudly showing off every room like she personally designed them. As the sun sets, they gather in the backyard. Rylan, Sabine, Nova, Kai, Mrs. Chen, Amara, Eleanor. An unlikely group that somehow became a family over 6 months of rebuilding and healing and learning to trust again. "Speech," Amara demands, raising her wine glass. "No speeches?" Rylan counters. "One speech," Sabine insists. "You're the chief community officer. Speeches are literally your job now." He sighs, standing reluctantly. Everyone turns to face him, expectant and supportive, and slightly tipsy from Eleanor's expensive wine. "Okay. He clears his throat. 6 months ago, I was barely surviving, working 3 jobs, falling asleep in my boots, wondering if I'd be able to keep my kids fed and housed and safe." He looks at Nova and Kai, who've abandoned the adults to chase fireflies at the edge of the yard. Today, I'm standing in my backyard, in a house I own, with a job that pays me to help people instead of just fixing their pipes. Mrs. Chen dabs at her eyes with a tissue. I didn't do this alone, Rylan continues. Every person here helped me, believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, stood beside me when it would have been easier to walk away. He raises his water bottle. Someone needs to stay sober enough to put kids to bed later. So thank you for seeing me, for giving me a chance, for making this possible. They toast, glasses and bottles clinking together, voices overlapping with congratulations and affection, and the easy warmth of people who chose each other despite having no obligation to do so. Sabine catches his eye across the group and mouths, "You did good." He mouths back, "We did good." Later, after everyone else has left and Nova and Kai are asleep in their new beds, Rylan stands on the back patio with Sabine, watching stars appear in the darkening sky. "Weird question," he says. "Go ahead." "Are you happy?" She considers it. "I'm not sure happiness is the right word. I'm settled, grounded." She glances at him. "Are you?" "Yeah, I think I am." He pauses. "I didn't think I'd get here. After Jasmine died, after everything fell apart, I thought happiness was for other people. People with money and stability and plans that actually worked out. And now I know happiness isn't about money or plans." He looks at the house, at the light glowing in his kids' bedroom windows. "It's about moments, like this one." Sabine steps closer, shoulder almost touching his. "For what it's worth, I'm glad you walked into my building that day, even though it nearly got us both killed. Especially because of that." She smiles. "Turns out surviving attempted murder together is a great foundation for friendship." "Is that what we are? Friends?" "I think so, unless you have a better word." He doesn't. "Friends feel right, safe and honest and uncomplicated by expectations neither of them is ready to define." "Friends works," he agrees. "They stand in comfortable silence, neither needing to fill the space with conversation. After months of chaos and noise and constant crisis, silence feels like victory." Rylan's phone buzzes, a message from the Creed Community Initiative group chat, someone sharing photos of the latest family to receive housing assistance. A single mother with 3 kids standing in front of her new apartment, crying with relief. 12 families so far, Sabine notes, reading over his shoulder, in 6 months. Not enough. It's a start. She pulls up the initiative's website on her phone, showing him the expanded plan. "We're opening community centers in 3 more neighborhoods next quarter, adding job training programs, partnering with local businesses for employment placement." "You're really doing this." "We're really doing this," she corrects. "This is your program, Rylan. I just write the checks." "You do more than that." "So do you." She pockets her phone. "Which is why the board wants to expand your role. Give you authority over all community-facing programs, not just housing." "That's a lot, I know. Take your time deciding." She heads for the door. "But for tonight, just enjoy this. You earned it." She leaves through the front door, and Rylan hears her car start, pulling away slowly down the quiet street. He stays outside a while longer, breathing in the night air that smells like cut grass and possibility. His phone continues buzzing with messages. Co-workers checking in, community members sharing updates, reporters requesting interviews he'll politely decline. But underneath all the noise, one thought repeats. I'm home, not just in the house, though that's part of it. Home in his life, home for his purpose. Home in himself. He goes inside, locking the door that actually locks, checking on kids who sleep soundly in beds that don't creak. Then he goes to his room, unpacks one more box, and finds the photo of Jasmine he's carried through every move, every hardship, every moment when giving up seemed easier than continuing. He sets it on the dresser where morning light will hit it first thing. "We made it," he whispers to the photo. To her, to the memory of who they were together. "The kids are safe, we have a home. We're going to be okay." He hopes wherever she is, she knows. He hopes she's proud. He hopes she understands that moving forward doesn't mean leaving her behind. It means carrying her forward into whatever comes next. His phone buzzes one last time, a text from Sabine. "Forgot to mention, you start your expanded role Monday. Try not to change the world too fast. We need you around a while. He types back, no promises. Her response, that's what I'm afraid of. He smiles, setting the phone down, and climbs into a bed that's actually comfortable. The ceiling doesn't leak. The walls don't shake when trucks pass. The neighbors aren't fighting through paper-thin walls. It's quiet. It's safe. It's everything he fought for. And as sleep pulls him under, his last conscious thought is gratitude for stubborn billionaires and brilliant IT specialists and bored chairs with hidden soft sides and neighbors who become family and children who forgive their father's absence during the hardest months. For second chances and new beginnings and the courage to keep going when everything says stop. Rylan never expected his life to change, but sometimes a single breath, a single act of courage, becomes the moment that rewrites everything. Not just for him, for everyone willing to believe that impossible things become possible when people refuse to look away from each other's humanity. That's what he'll teach Nova and Kai. That's what the Creed Community Initiative stands for. That's what Jasmine would have wanted. And tomorrow, he'll wake up in his home, make breakfast for his kids, and go to work, changing the world one family at a time. Because some stories don't end happily ever after. They end with, and the work continues. But that's okay. Rylan's good at work. He's been working his whole life. Now he just gets to work towards something that matters. Thank you for following Rylan's journey. What moment inspired you most? Share in the comments below. Subscribe and turn on notifications. We have more stories like this coming soon. Stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Your support helps us share these messages of hope and resilience. Let's inspire each other to keep going, keep fighting, and keep believing that change is possible.